Good evening, everyone. I call to order our first meeting for 2026, our February 4th Civil Rights Board meeting at 5 p.m. Director Hewitt-Smith, may I get a roll call?
Thank you, Chairperson Faison. Chairperson Faison,
Present.
Vice Chair Lukeman,
Present.
Director Moore Doyle,
Present.
Director Calderon,
Present.
Director Sipling,
Present.
Director DeBoer,
Present.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Thank you.
The agenda has been distributed to everyone. At this time, are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt the agenda for February 4th.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Agenda is adopted. We also have the minutes for our last meeting, December 3rd, 2025. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt our minutes from our meeting from December 3rd, 2025?
Director DeBoer, motion to adopt the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
It was motioned by Director DeBoer and second by Vice Chair Lukeman. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? The minute meetings for December 3rd, 2025 have been adopted. At this time, Director Hewitt-Smith, do we have any public announcements or communications?
I do not.
Thank you. So our first item up for discussion will be board chair, vice chair nominations, elections. We can open it up for discussion. It's for discussion for it. Oh. Okay. Go ahead, Vice Chair Lukeman.
This is Vice Chair Lukeman, and I would like to create a motion to approve Kathy Faison for our board chair.
Is there a second?
Director Calderon Wesso, I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Director Sipling?
I would like to note that there's been an outpouring of support from our community who have reached out to us regarding this. So one of the things that we're doing is representing the voice of the city, and the support for Chair Faison has been overwhelming. I just wanted to point that out and add that to the record.
Thank you, Director Sipling. I would also like to thank community for the support as well. We've received quite a few emails today and last night. So thank you. I appreciate it. No, just asking, checking, making sure Are there any other nominations? Okay, we will vote on it. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Looks like I'll be the chair for the next year, God willing. Thank you. Thank you all for the support, as well as I say faith in me. So also, we do appoint a vice chair at this time as well. And so I guess that would be the question now. If anybody is interested, if Vice Chair Lukeman would like to stay vice chair, excuse me, stay vice chair, we can have discussion around that. A motion.
If I could make a comment, this is Director Lukeman. I am certainly willing to continue as vice chair, but I will say again, if there is someone on this board that is looking to provide the board more support, I'm willing to, obviously we can nominate anybody, but I'm just indicating that I'd be happy to take a bow as well.
I guess if I can make a comment, would Director Sipling be open to vice chair?
This is Director Sipling. There would be an openness. Thank you for asking it that way. I do appreciate the work and the partnership that we have between our chair and vice chair. So this is certainly not saying no, but I do appreciate the kinds of conversations and things that come about from our leadership.
I would make a motion to elect Director Sipling, to nominate Director Sipling as vice chair.
Is there a second?
This is Director Lukeman, and I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion, any further discussion? So we'll take a vote on Director Sipling. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We have a new vice chair. Welcome, Vice Chair Sipling. And I'm gonna also extend some grace. I definitely appreciate, because Vice Chair Sipling and Director DeBoer were the last two to come onto the board. And I will say the way that they've stepped up, I will extend even more grace, because with us losing law for secretary, Vice Chair Sipling stepped up to be secretary for both of our subcommittees, and that is a huge role to take on for the minutes and making sure everything is prepared. So thank you and welcome to Vice Chair. Yes, go ahead, Vice Chair Sipling.
It feels strange to say, is there a point of order to say thank you, and I appreciate the kind words. And I would like to point out as well that I'm so glad that we have so many folks stepping up, and I'm so glad for the work of Lal and the office that has supported us here at the city. And Director Lukeman has stepped up to take notes as well for the Education Subcommittee because of some changes there. So this is all possible with the teamwork and all of the things that we're doing together. So thank you all for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you, Vice Chair Sipling, and I will have to echo that to the board. I think we have an amazing group up here, and it's time to get some work done. Our next order of business is updates On the Education Subcommittee,
Thank you. This is Director Lukeman. Since our last board meeting on December 3rd, the Educational Subcommittee has had 3 meetings. The feedback from the board and community has been to establish co-leadership on this committee. I'm pleased to share with the board that the director, now Vice Chair Sipling, has kindly offered to lead the subcommittee. When we then requested the community members to assist in co-leadership, we have not had any volunteers from community agencies step up into co-leadership as of yet. We will continue to ask those support agencies and housing agencies that do attend our meetings. I personally would like to see our HARA in the county, which is HRI, co-lead that educational subcommittee. That is something that we discussed in our last meeting with the one of the employees of HRI that was there. We are still seeking a impacted community member to join our subcommittee. We'd like to extend the request to the board to see if the board has any recommendations to the subcommittee for folks that we should reach out to and extend an invitation to our meetings. Additionally, I want to make the board and community aware that the subcommittee meeting time at 1 p.m. every other Monday can be changed. There have been no requests or suggestions within the group to change this meeting time. This time can change. There has just been no formal suggestion from the members or potential members in order to change this educational subcommittee meeting time. So again, I would state that if we need to adjust it, the educational subcommittee is more than willing to do so. With that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Vice Chair Sipling to present our landlord and tenant brochures to the board.
can I jump in real quick? I will say also, after speaking with Vice Chair Sipling, she has set up a meeting after hours, after 5 p.m. with one of our impacted community members, and that meeting should be taking place next week. I also asked them to see if anybody else would be interested in attending that meeting as well. So if there is an impacted community member that is interested, I think they have something on the schedule for next week after 5 p.m., and you are more than welcome to be a part of that as well. Go ahead, Vice Chair Sipling.
Thank you both very much for starting us off on some of the new materials that we are working on. The directors have among their paperwork 2 different sheets that are trifold brochures. These 2 brochures are about fair housing and non-discrimination policies here based on Chapter 18 of our non-discrimination policy. So please note, directors, that on the front cover, as it says in the top right-hand corner, you'll see if you have a page that doesn't say that, flip it around and you'll find it. So there is one page with green text that says what Kalamazoo renters should know under the main title, and that's the one for renters and tenants. And then the other one is for landlords. Again, please note this is a trifold brochure, so this will fold in accordion style on itself. We are aware that there is some printing that is sort of reversed and upside down. Obviously, a final version will not be included that way. Of some things to note with these 2 brochures, we wanted to focus on ease of access as well as accessibility. For instance, at what would be the bottom of the tenants brochure, there is what is sometimes called a process map, and that basically allows somebody to ask yes or no if there are things that fall under our ordinance. So for instance, and also just by way of reminder, the first question that might be asked to somebody to make sense of if an incident has fallen under our, has been non-compliant with our ordinance. So the process map would state the event occur within Kalamazoo city limits. It would ask, did the event occur in the previous 91 days? It would ask if the complaint is covered by the city's civil rights prohibited conduct. And if yes to each of those questions, there are resources, both a QR code as well as the website address URL for somebody to access the complaint form, the ordinance itself. And there's also other mentions as well that there are other methods besides the internet to access those complaint forms. So that would be that form. The second form for landlords is very similar, but content has been selected to specifically answer some FAQs for landlords, as well as show responsibilities, what can be done under the law, what is prohibited, and how the ordinance is enforced. Those are the two brochures. I'd like to open it up for comment for the other directors with initial thoughts, edits, concerns, or directions that we might want to go in for these two.
I appreciate, Director DeBoer, just commenting that the work I think that has been done on these is very much appreciated and will help to build some momentum in being able to give something out into the community that's pretty clear on what to do. The process map at the bottom, very helpful. The ease, right, the QR code, and then also potential other options that tenants have within the community.
This is Director Calderon-Hueso. On the renters, what Kalamazoo renters should know, where it begins, and it says how to file a complaint. You have 91 days to file a complaint. I'm assuming from the time of the incident, I'm not sure what you have, 91 days to file a complaint. But at the bottom, it says within 91 days, the city will review and investigate your complaint and notify you in writing of the outcome. Because I know kind of what the process is, I know that somebody's going to get back to you before that 91 days and that there's things that happen within that 91 days. But this is a little unclear about that. And if I was somebody who was looking for mitigation or some sort of support, seeing 91 days might be a little jarring. So I know this is just some basic information, but maybe another area where someone could gather more information about what that process within that 91-day looks like. It's just a suggestion.
Thank you, Director Calderon. Any other conversation? I will lift up that I do see a lot of effort and work was put into these. And so appreciate the movement, because so much that we've been trying to do has been stagnated some way, somehow, or another. So thank you, Educational Subcommittee, for all your efforts. And I will say also, I know everyone was supposed to review these prior to this meeting. However, if there is anything that you might catch, please feel free to email anyone that is on the Education Committee with comments. No further discussion? Okay, we'll be moving on to the next item on the agenda, and that is updates on the Ordinance Review Subcommittee.
Before we exit the Educational Subcommittee, if for the purpose of going back to our subcommittee for our next meeting, so our next meeting is going to be on Monday, and I think hearing some of the feedback, we're going to take a look at this number 3 to see if we can adjust the language a little bit on that 91 days. I guess I would ask that for the purpose of subcommittee, we would be making those adjustments, and would the board like to see that adjustment made before we request the DEI department go out for RFP for printing?
Yes, I think it would be a good idea if we have an opportunity to see them, even if it's a matter of them being sent once again through emails, but we would have a chance to look at them.
Okay.
Director DeBoer?
Do we need a motion to approve those? Or if we get them into, like, are we good once the educational subcommittee says, hey, they're good, they've sent them out again, no one has any issues with it, then they can go to that RFP? Is that
Yes, yep. Mhm.
request for proof? And then, oh, okay. But then they can move forward, right? Okay. I just want to make sure that we weren't halting the process.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for asking for clarification. Any further discussion? Okay, we will move along to our next item on the agenda, which is the updates for the Ordinance Review Subcommittee. I will let either Director DeBoer or Vice Chair Sipling speak on that. I do know that some of the questions, and she may be able to give you more of a rundown of the questions and how they were changed online as well, to make it a little bit easier as far as filling out a complaint.
This is Director Sipling. Yes, so along with the process map that Director DeBoer helped draft as well, there are some questions online that have been added to the form that do help direct people to the right resources. So for instance, asking similar questions such as, did this actually happen within the city of Kalamazoo limits? Does it fall underneath the ordinance and so forth? I do like the visual of a process map. And since it's been developed from the Educational Subcommittee, I'd love to bring that into the Ordinance Review Subcommittee as well for further discussion. One thing that was mentioned as well, and I think it's good that we are asking about the days and the process involved. One thing that did come up in our discussion is the timeline regarding reports. So for instance, if somehow from the time of an incident, it took 91 days, and then somebody reported it to the city, and somehow it took 91 days for the city to get back. That's over 180 days, which is over the time limit required for the Michigan Board of Civil Rights to investigate. As we were discussing that, and as we identified that, that could be an opportunity to, for one, as been mentioned, is there something we can do to sort of allay some of that process so that something is happening before 91 days in case someone needs to be referred? And if there are parts of the process that can be started earlier with the Board of Civil Rights. This has been a concern that's been brought up in some of the messaging that has been sent recently, yesterday and today, as well as with the board in various conversations. Can our board be involved in this complaint process, which would put more eyes on things more quickly and hopefully kind of shorten that window in case we needed to refer something on? That's our work moving forward and continuing. I don't know if Director DeBoer wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah, just to add, I think that's a concern that we have, that we kind of have our eyes on, but within the city, and correct me, most of these complaints are being reviewed within a week or two, is what I've seen. So it's not currently an issue, but it was just kind of to be mindful that there are other avenues that people have to make complaints with other bodies, and there are also timelines on those ends.
I will lift up, we definitely received a lot of feedback from community regarding the Civil Rights Board being involved and engaged with the complaints immediately as they come through the door. We do understand that we are an advisory board, but we also want to be helpful and be there and also have a hand from the beginning to the end. And so that is going to be a lot of what we will be working towards. I know sometimes people may feel a little frustrated if there is anything that falls outside of the city. And I don't mean jurisdiction, but I mean to where it may go to a different organization, state level or something. I personally always still encourage people to put it in because you're creating footprints. You're creating a paper trail. Director Hewitt-Smith?
Yes, as stated, we did hear from the community today, even prior to today, but I do want to reiterate that our office has most definitely, we are always open for communication. We're open for a way to streamline the process. We are not trying to gatekeep anything when it comes to the community, because we are here to serve the community. We're just looking for that conversation to start. What does that look like? Because what we have discussed today, Lala and I, we are going to come up with some procedures to where I know normally when we meet with the chair and the vice chair, we ask for agenda items, and we normally leave it beholden to you to say, hey, we want a report. What Lala and I discussed today, that going forward, we are just going to report every time we meet on your behalf, regardless of the request. Now, what does that look like after that? I do not know, but that is one step to where you will be able to hear it prior to you requesting it. We will give it to you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Director Lukeman?
I just also want to note that our board has access to the complaint log at any point in time as well with the SharePoint that our board shares, that the city has set up and consistently maintains. So if there is, a point in time that you are looking for that data, or to look at the complaint log to see what's come in or the status of it, all the comments, it is in the SharePoint. I pulled it up today in preparation for the meeting. So I just want to, if you're unable to get into that or need help with that, I would suggest reaching out to Lal, who will, likely get you in touch with the city IT department. But that, I think SharePoint's been a really great resource, certainly for me, trying to look back on different meeting minutes, subcommittee meeting minutes, and things like that, too.
Thank you for that information, Director Lukeman. And once again, the vice chair and the chair do meet in order to set an agenda for our upcoming meeting. I also want to say, as board members, if there is anything that you would want to discuss that may not be on the agenda, you can always email us, and it's something we can add to the agenda as well. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we will move along to our next item on the agenda, which is the commitment to our committees and subcommittees, as well as appointments. So I will start off by saying that, one, this board is voluntary, where you volunteer, as well as the subcommittees. And so I am asking that if you are volunteering, we need everybody to show up in order for us to show out. And we need that commitment. If you are unable to attend for any reason, we understand that things happen. Sometimes it's just about communication even, and letting your group know, or your subcommittee, or the board if there is a CRB meeting. So I do want to really stress how important it is to have that communication. I know sometimes there's little slow communication, even getting back to emails that law might send out in regards to something or a meeting that's coming up. And we just have to be mindful that we need to respond, because sometimes appointments or interviews may need to be scheduled. So, and any feedback or any discussion? And if your capacity is impacting your presence, No worries. Feel free. No one is obligated to do anything when you're volunteering. Just step down and allow somebody else to fill that space. Yes. Under our commitment, we also have our education subcommittee. Unfortunately, Director Calderon resigned, so that opens up another spot on the education subcommittee. Is there anyone who would be interested in filling that role? Well, I will say we currently still have a seat that is open, so we may have someone new that may come in and decide they want to participate. I personally will fill in until someone feels that it's something that they would want to do. Okay. No further discussion? We will be moving on to public comments. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name.
Hello, my name is Tristan. I'm an organizer with We the People Action Fund. I went to the City Commission meeting last Monday to share about a couple of renters' rights that we were fighting for the ballot initiative last year. And unfortunately, a team of 10, it's not very easy to win a ballot initiative even at the local level, but we were able to talk to thousands of Kalamazoo residents who very strongly supported these initiatives. I'd be happy to pass them around so you guys can have a look. Just one second. A brief rundown on what they are. The first one is called Right to Organize, and it would provide general protections for people who want to engage in tenant association organizing or any other type of organizing with their fellow tenants to advocate for their interests, either in a bargaining relationship with their landlord or corporate landlord entity, or advocating for themselves politically if they want to form a team to try to advocate for these rights such as these. We firmly believe that unions are a way for ordinary people to build power in their community, not just to organize for the sake of mutual aid, but to organize to advocate for the things that they want to change about their own lives. And we feel that if landlords and realtors can have their landlord associations and realtor associations, then tenant associations should be equally as protected. And so we hope that we can provide protections so that people won't be retaliated against, harassed, or abused, or discriminated against by not every landlord, but some landlords. And the other is just cause eviction, or what we refer to a lot of times as right to renewal. Essentially, it establishes the parameters of what would be considered just or unjust causes for eviction, and it firmly establishes that a person who is following all of the stipulations of their lease is, in all sense of the terms, a great tenant. They should not be denied a re-sign on that lease at the end of the leasing period. They should be the first person who is offered if the unit is going to be available. Otherwise, we leave the door open for discrimination and obviously retaliation against people. What we don't want to see is someone saying, hey, did you hear John is starting a tenant union? Oh, when's his lease up? Oh, make sure he doesn't sign, right? That seems like an obstruction of people's rights. It makes it difficult for people to feel like there's stability in their housing, and this is a way for us to offer that stability not just to people who are organizing, but to every renter in the city. So I hope that you'll take a look as yes, I hope you support it. I'll be in touch.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Caleb. Thank you for your time. Specifically, I'm here to ask some questions. Madison Lukeman, why are you here? How is this not a conflict of interest? My understanding is that you are the owner-operator of one of the largest rental and property management companies in this city, over 600 units, about 10% of the rental units available in the city. How is that not a conflict of interest? Why should any landlord be on here when a large majority of civil rights complaints in this nation come from housing complaints? How is that not a conflict of interest? Because your company has a very large reputation in this city, and not a single bit of it is good. I know over 6 people who will not come to make a complaint to this board because you sit here. How is that not a conflict of interest? Whether intentional or not, how is that not intimidation? This suppresses people's freedom to come and make a complaint about their civil rights so that they can have protections. So why are you here? Why won't you resign? Why are any of you, and specifically Commissioner, why is she even allowed to sit on this board? I'll see you the rest of my time if you can give me answers. Saying that I'm not going to get any answers today, since this is public comment, not question and answer, this is still a valid issue, and I will be following up. You don't need to be here. Seriously.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is Maggie Adams. I do reside in the city, and I'm also a part of Isaac. I have 2 questions or 2 comments, and they both revolve around inclusive and equitable practices. And we've heard on more than one occasion about this time element for the subcommittee, and to me, I just would ask again to the subcommittee pause that we shouldn't have to make a formal request to understand that perhaps that 1 o'clock time period is exclusive, period. It seems to probably work well for the agencies because it's a part of their framework of their jobs, probably, like open roads, HRI, and so on. But it's not very inviting for other folks probably who have jobs during the day. So it's not even an invitation. So in my opinion, it's not an equitable or an inclusive practice to even say that. Because I know there has been some discussion on this board by your own directors that they could participate on this committee if the time was different. So rather than asking a request, it should have already, in an equitable practice, be a part of how you work. My second thing is I've given you some feedback also about this idea about the brochure, and I was a little bit taken back that there was no time asked about feedback from us in the community about the brochures. And I was concerned about the feedback that you asked in terms of even creating them. Is there clarity about the target audience? I think feedback from people that are impacted that you are supposedly wanting to give the brochure to should be a part of this before you get to a final step. Even those who are landlords should be able to take a look at this. You need to have a greater input from the very people that you are targeting before you put something out. Those are equitable and inclusive practices? And how would you know if you got feedback from those who are impacted or landlords that you met your goal about it being informative for those that you are targeting? Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name's Linnea. I have been a resident of Kalamazoo since fall of 2003. I've lived in different places, mostly in the Vine neighborhood. I'm here to support Tristan and, you know, the agenda that we have at We the People. I've been volunteering with them for, I've kind of lost track of how long. It's not been less than 3 years, I think. But my recollection of how our campaign last year, it came about in the, I don't know, I feel like the wreckage of the lame duck, basically the trifecta of in the for the Democratic legislatures, you know, the Democrat control of the both chambers of the Michigan legislature, and also the the control of the governorship by Gretchen Whitmer. And there really wasn't much done to help us with housing. We did some strategizing, you know, kind of a laundry list of things that we could have advocated for. And as far as like things much like the ordinances that the two that we ended up settling on to try and do it at the local level, there were more than 10. Like, I know personally, they all sounded really good. Like if we got them all, there'd still be work to do. So, you know, I hope if any of you who have any leverage with here at the local level, I want to see these things get passed. It'll be a big help, but it's just the beginning of the work that needs to be done. I guess that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening. My name is Charlotte Davis with Isaac. Again, I want to say blessings to you this new year. Please just know that we appreciate you all and your commitment and your time and your hard work. And as we are moving into 2026, just know that you all have our support. The Isaac family remains supportive. First, congratulations and thank you, Chair Faison, for your hard work and you're continuing on as chair. So thank you, and thank you all. Also, Director Lukeman, thank you for your hard work as vice chair as well. We appreciate all that you've done. And then to our new vice chair, Sipling, thank you so much. Congratulations. And we look forward to you in that role. And thank you all. I wanted to talk just a little bit, you all, about the Education Subcommittee, and thank you all so much for that conversation and discussion that you all just had. Thank you for all of the hard work that you all have done on the brochures. I was so happy when I heard the word co-leadership. That's something that we definitely were lifting. I want to humbly suggest, and we have some awesome agencies, housing agencies here in Kalamazoo, and I'll put a period at the end of that sentence. I want to humbly suggest that whoever is co-lead, that would be a community member that's not tied to a housing agency. And if possible, someone who has been impacted by housing inequities. And so when we're talking about shared leadership, shared decision-making, how powerful is that as you all are the CRB board, being able to have a committee with someone who is on the board and then someone who has been impacted by inequities, the same inequities that you all are fighting against. And so instead of an agency, agency, you all. Let's think about an impacted community member. You all already have had community members who have wanted to attend, specifically that education subcommittee. I'm so happy to hear that there is openness to that time. Sounds like there's a meeting already on Monday, and Vice Chair Sipling, thank you so much for meeting with community members who have been interested and who haven't been able to attend. I even wonder, are you all able to pause on that meeting on Monday and try to figure out if after 5 or 5:30, 5:15, if that time works for those who already said that they're interested so that they can join this work. This work has been moving, it's moving fast, it's great work, but we definitely want all voices included. And also in thinking about those brochures, I know it probably feels like it's time to go, let's do this, let's go to printing. I would say just hold you all and then make sure that you have community members able to access these meetings with you all, to plan with you all, to dialogue, to give input, and then, and it might take a little longer, that's okay, then go ahead and send it to print. So then like this is a truly inclusive.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, do we have anyone on the phone?
We do not.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments this evening. At this time, I will open it up for comments from the board.
Director Faison, I'm just wondering, from the last meeting, was the conversation about Shona Espinoza and the communication, was that taken care of?
That is actually the meeting that Vice Chair Sipling will be having next week. So I definitely connected them, and that's who she has a meeting scheduled with.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Director Lukeman. I wanted to specifically say thank you to Beth Romeo, who is with the Southwest Michigan Fair Housing Center, for her and her team's input on the landlord and tenant brochures. The Southwest Michigan Fair Housing Center took our draft brochures and put their stamp of approval, if you will, and feedback on that. And I was really appreciative that they could join us in also getting their logo and QR code on our tenant brochure as well. So I just want to say to the community and to Beth, thank you for that. I also wanted to bring clarity on my the educational subcommittee comment regarding co-leadership. We are in fact looking for 3 types of co-leaders, one being from the board, one being from a housing advocacy agency, as well as an impacted community member. So that's when I guess it's tri-leadership, if you will. But so we are looking for 3 pieces of leadership in that subcommittee.
Thank you, Director Lukeman. Anyone else? Vice Chair Sipling.
Hello, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you for the folks who have come out and made comments. Wanted to note a few things because of the community comments regarding the educational subcommittee. It's been a need and a concern to have impacted members be a part of that. Stepping up and taking leadership of that, this is going to be a top priority for me as a part of that subcommittee. I think it's going to need to involve some creativity. Maybe that's multiple meetings, maybe that's different times for different groups. I will say 9 to 5 is one chunk of time, but for those of us who are involved, who have trying to manage multiple incomes or even gig incomes, DoorDash, things like that, sometimes even evenings can be difficult as well. So I think this will take some creativity, but it will be important to not simply kind of speak for people who are affected, but to have those voices. That might sound trite, simply because I know that there's been a lot of red tape, but just know that this is going to be my top priority, so that way we can have folks ensure that their rights are protected. That's for everybody's rights. Wanted to echo as well, fair housing centers, incredible work. Again, this is not the same thing as hearing directly from the voice of an impacted community member, but knowing that that group does speak to impacted community members is good for me and does sort of at least mitigate some of the spots that we have that we're not always seeing. But just want to say thank you as well to the board. I'm glad that we have a full board, as we have stated last year, and now it's time to move and do things. And thank you all for putting trust in me for vice chair. So looking forward to 2026 and doing some good work with you all.
Director Faison, I know in previous I said that I would not be interested in the Education Subcommittee. I have thought about it, and if there is a spot open, I would like to be involved. However, I'm not sure if the time, I know that Chair Lukeman said that the time could possibly change. So if it does change, I would be interested.
Thank you for that. So I think it's just working around trying to figure out a good time. I will say you are appointed to the Education Subcommittee if you're okay with that. And if there's a conflict and until some type of resolution with time, I will attend. And then once we get something figured out to where you could fill in, that will be your spot. You're welcome. Okay, well, I will end this by saying, once again, thank you to the entire board. We still got one seat open. It looks full because we have Attorney Joe sitting up here, but we have one seat open. I will lift up, there is an interview tomorrow, so hopefully that we can get some interviews in and have the seat filled by the next meeting. But thank you to everyone that puts in the hard work that's on this board. Like I said, it's a new year, 2026. We still have long roads ahead of us, but I see the fight in everybody. Congratulations once again to you also, Vice Chair Sipling. And that just shows the trust that board members have in you as well coming in. I do want to also acknowledge that we did have City Manager Hankins in this evening. So I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come in and see what the Civil Rights Board is trying to get accomplished through the city. Thank you, City Always, for the hard work that you do and you put in as well. Thank you for community. Thank you for the overflow of emails, lifting me up, the continued support. I appreciate it. Thank you for always bringing your concerns, because as a community, this is how we're going to figure everything out. We're going to do it together. And then I also want to say with the emails and everybody coming in, I kind of want to address him, and I know, it's kind of like no, but what I do want to say about Director Lukeman being on the board is that complaints do not go to her. They come in. And if there's anything that has to do with her, or if there's a conflict, and if it's with any of us, we have to recuse ourselves. What I want the community to understand is it doesn't matter who sits on this board. There is no intimidation. I will not allow there to be any intimidation where the community thinks that they cannot put in a complaint. We are here to support the community, and this is what we're here for. So I just wanted to lift that up, that her presence, understand people may feel certain type of ways, but please do not feel that you cannot put a complaint in because of her being on the board. She's here and she's representing as well. So thank you all. At this time, a motion to adjourn?
Director DeBoer, I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Ursula Moore Doyle.
Okay. Meeting adjourned, 5:54 p.m. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Kathy, so the education meeting is at 1 o'clock on Monday?